It didn't take an explosion. It didn't take a crash. All it took was a single, silent press of a pedal, and the future broke in half. The Cybertruck wasn't just a product, it was a promise. It was supposed to redefine transportation, crush the competition, and prove once and for all that Tesla could out-engineer the world. But the very part designed to move it forward became the reason it was forced to stop. Accelerators got stuck, trucks sped up without warning, drivers slammed brakes in panic, and a billion-dollar vehicle designed to look like a weapon of the future turned out to be defenseless against one tiny mechanical flaw. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a symbol of pressure, of ego, of something going deeply, dangerously wrong inside Tesla. But how did this slip through testing? Why was it rushed to production? And what else is still hiding beneath that steel shell? What's happening? The accelerator defect wasn't just the result of poor design, it was the result of a decision made under pressure. Elon Musk had promised that the Cybertruck would arrive by the end of 2023. But by the fall of that year, internal sources knew the vehicle wasn't ready. There were ongoing concerns with weight, balance, software calibration, and critically, the materials being used for the accelerator. Anonymous engineers later revealed the truth just weeks before the Cybertruck's release. Tesla switched the material of the pedal to save weight and reduce costs. But that new material, a lighter composite, was more prone to flexing, and under the right conditions that flexing made it possible for the pedal to jam. The team flagged the risk. They proposed delaying shipment to run extended stress tests. But they were overruled. According to one leaked internal memo, the mandate was clear: no delays, launch date is locked. Tesla has faced this moment before. During the Model 3 ramp-up, similar shortcuts were taken. Fit and finish complaints, inconsistent panel gaps, early battery issues, they all stemmed from the same urgency: ship first, fix later. And back then, Tesla got away with it. The brand was still young, the fan base forgiving, the product revolutionary. But the Cybertruck was different. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was supposed to be the culmination of everything Tesla had learned. The arrival of this truck had been teased for nearly 5 years, and still, when the moment came, the company made the same gamble push to launch and hope the problems don't surface too quickly. The gamble failed, and it set in motion a crisis that couldn't be contained, because once the trucks were on the road, and once the videos started surfacing, the damage couldn't be walked back. And then the factory went dark. Factories don't panic, they pause, they freeze, they fall silent, and at Tesla's Giga Texas, that silence said everything. The recall wasn't just a PR problem, it was an operational collapse. As soon as the defect was confirmed, Cybertruck production came to a halt. Line workers were told to stop all truck-related tasks. Shipments were canceled, assembly was frozen. Already built trucks were quarantined in holding areas for manual inspection. Inside the plant, chaos unfolded. Engineers were pulled from other projects to help triage the issue. Storage space ran out as unsold trucks filled every corner of the factory. Parts suppliers were told to pause deliveries, and floor supervisors were left scrambling for guidance. Internal memos referred to the situation as a temporary corrective action, but employees knew better. This wasn't a speed bump, it was a total freeze. Workers trained exclusively on Cybertruck assembly found themselves with nothing to do. Some were temporarily reassigned to Model Y lines, others were left idle, waiting for updates that never came. Even beyond the factory walls, the crisis spread. Analysts began lowering production estimates for the quarter, investor calls turned hostile, and for a company that had promised to produce 5,000 Cybertrucks per week by year's end, the target now seemed unreachable. Then came the recall, and everything cracked open. Every car here is backed by real dealer inventory data. If you want more no-fluff breakdowns, hit subscribe now. The recall that shattered confidence. One government alert, one line of text from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and just like that, Tesla's image shattered. The notice was brief, but brutal. All Cybertrucks delivered to date, every single one, totaling nearly 4,000 units, were being recalled. Not suggested for repair, not offered for inspection, recalled. And worse, the public was advised not to drive them. The public reaction was swift and damning. Major news networks ran the story in prime time. Social media exploded with anger, confusion, and disbelief. For customers who had waited years and spent over $100,000, the dream had turned into a liability. The Cybertruck was supposed to be Tesla's halo product, an icon of strength and innovation. Instead, it had become a symbol of failure. Customers began sharing emails, texts, and call logs trying to reach Tesla support. Some received vague updates, others heard nothing. The disconnect made the panic worse. Behind the scenes, Tesla attempted damage control. They issued a public statement promising free repairs, a redesigned pedal assembly, and rapid turnaround. But the logistics of inspecting, redesigning, and reinstalling components on thousands of vehicles were more daunting than they let on. And the public saw through it. This wasn't just a defective part, this wasn't a fluke, it was systemic. And for many, the question changed from what happened to this truck to what else has Tesla missed. And then, the silence broke from inside the building. When engineers fear their own product, something is deeply wrong. The floodgates opened after the recall. Once the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration confirmed the defect and Tesla was forced to acknowledge it publicly, former employees began coming forward. What they revealed was worse than expected. Several ex-employees described a culture of fear and suppression. Non-disclosure agreements weren't just standard procedure, they were weapons. Any worker who questioned the Cybertruck's readiness faced retaliation, from demotions to internal audits. One quality assurance specialist reported being pulled from the Cybertruck line after flagging repeated test failures. Another engineer, speaking anonymously to reporters, admitted they were instructed to avoid writing certain concerns down. In other words, if a flaw wasn't documented, it didn't exist. The most disturbing claim came from a senior test engineer who alleged that a full round of validation tests was skipped entirely in the final 2 weeks before mass production. The reason? According to internal scheduling documents, Musk had already announced the delivery window on social media. The factory had to make it happen, even if it meant launching with known flaws. With these testimonies now reaching members of Congress, momentum began building. A bipartisan committee in Washington started gathering evidence for potential hearings. Tesla had survived media storms before, but this wasn't just about PR anymore. It was about law. As more insiders stepped forward, a movement took shape. Engineers began organizing privately to support each other through legal threats. Several went public, joining consumer advocacy groups and pushing for accountability at the highest levels. They weren't disgruntled employees, they were professionals who believed Tesla had crossed a line. The moral core of the Cybertruck scandal had finally surfaced. When the people who built the product no longer trusted it, the damage was already done. But the damage wasn't just internal. Lawyers were already circling. Tesla's legal department just went from defense to triage. The moment the recall went public, law firms across the country smelled blood in the water. Within 72 hours, the first class action lawsuit was filed in California, alleging that Tesla knowingly sold a defective vehicle that posed a serious risk to public safety. More would follow. By the end of the second week, legal analysts were tracking at least 8 active suits from Cybertruck owners. But it didn't stop there. Shareholders also filed suits, accusing Tesla leadership of misrepresenting the launch readiness of the Cybertruck, thereby inflating stock value under false pretenses. One investor lawsuit even cited specific executive statements promising uncompromising safety, directly contradicted by the leaked internal emails. At the same time, government regulators began to circle. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration wasn't just content with a recall. It launched a formal probe into whether Tesla had violated federal reporting laws. The Securities and Exchange Commission, already watching Elon Musk for unrelated tweets, took interest in whether Tesla had misled investors. And in California, the Department of Motor Vehicles opened a review into Tesla's marketing of the Cybertruck's autonomous capabilities. Tesla now faced a legal war on 3 fronts: customers, shareholders, and the government. And law firms weren't playing defense. Several began strategically leaking redacted evidence to the press, emails, memos, and timelines that painted a picture of a company prioritizing speed over safety. One senior partner at a major West Coast firm summed it up bluntly: Tesla gambled with public trust, now it's time to pay the table. But what truly collapsed was the vision. The future they promised no longer existed. It wasn't just one truck, it was a whole lineup that never made it. Tesla didn't just see the Cybertruck as a product. It saw it as the foundation of a new vehicle ecosystem. Internal planning documents, leaked shortly after the recall, revealed an ambitious roadmap that included a Cybertruck sport model, an autonomous capable delivery van, and a long-range dual-motor variant with off-road upgrades. Each was tied to a phased rollout scheduled through 2026. The sport version, initially slated for announcement during the 2024 holiday season, would have included adaptive suspension performance tuning and exclusive software features designed to rival traditional off-roaders. The delivery variant was pitched to logistics companies as a rugged, all-electric alternative to vans currently offered by Ford and Rivian. And the dual-motor off-road edition was internally dubbed the Apocalypse build, a vehicle designed to thrive in the most extreme terrain. All of it is now shelved indefinitely, not paused, not delayed, scrapped. The recall didn't just destroy consumer confidence, it obliterated Tesla's timeline. With every engineering team redirected toward fixing the base model, the pipeline collapsed. Tesla's suppliers, once lined up for aggressive parts procurement, have quietly canceled contracts or shifted to other brands. And consumers, who once fantasized about choosing between Cybertruck trims, are now asking for refunds. The broader EV market was hungry for something bold. Instead, it got silence. And then, the stock market moved in for the kill. When Tesla drops 7%, it's not a dip. It's a scream. The moment news of the Cybertruck recall hit headlines, something cracked, not just in the factory or in the forums, but deep in the financial markets where sentiment moves faster than facts. Within 24 hours, Tesla's stock plummeted by over 7%, wiping billions off the company's market value. And this wasn't just a bad trading day, it was the beginning of a full-scale reckoning. For years, Tesla had been the golden child of Wall Street. Its volatility forgiven, its delays tolerated, and its hype bought wholesale by investors who believed in Elon Musk's ability to bend the future to his will. But suddenly, those same investors were staring at charts that didn't just trend downward, they plunged. Shareholders panicked. Mutual funds holding Tesla in large-cap tech portfolios began rebalancing. Hedge funds moved first, unloading positions to avoid exposure to what now looked like a high-risk asset dressed in futuristic armor. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Stay tuned for upcoming updates, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time.